Hello, friends. Welcome to this podcast channel, Center of Excellence Pharma 4. In this episode, I am going to discuss about smart manufacturing evolution, the C-suite guide to Pharma 4 production. Before starting up thing, let me give you our brief introduction. We have a concept of Center of Excellence Pharma 4, that is the various emerging technologies which are coming up, like cloud, artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, IoT, chatbot, how these various technologies are going to help pharmaceutical industries to face their challenges and help them to achieve operational and business excellence. Keeping this objective in mind, we have designed our website respa.com. We have also designed a course Udemy that is having a smart manufacturing in pharma consisting about 20 modules giving you the full information about various technologies and its integration with the pharma industry challenges. Our YouTube channel was started about 5 years back, has got more than 330 videos, which are discussing about business strategies to validations and audits. Podcast channel, which you are listening right now, has got more than 60 episodes, which is focused on to discussing about the industry challenges, technology capabilities, and how it's going to help in operational excellence. We also have a book series, Center of Excellence Pharma 4, has got 4 books which are again focused on two same emerging technologies and digital transformation and pharma. So let's start with the topic. So I'm going to show you a brief illustration how various technologies are going to contribute and what a C-level executives they should think about it. And we are trying to give them some brief ideas how it can really contribute in pharmaceutical industry for achieving the Pharma 4 concepts. So my agenda over here is introduction, evolution of the pharmaceutical manufacturing, the birth of the concept of Pharma 4, understanding Pharma 4 framework and components, Pharma 4 operating model, digital maturity continuum, the business case for a Pharma 4, implementation roadmap for a C-suite leaders, overcoming the common implementation challenges, future outlook and strategic imperatives, and finally the conclusion. So the introduction is for the Pharma 4, it's a transformative shift from the old pharma manufacturing. We earlier had analog systems where the data is captured and stored into the silos. Now we are moving to the integration part of it, the digital ecosystem, where the data is captured in a digital way. It is a seamless interface integration with the end-to-end data, and which bring the business benefits about the enhanced efficiency, improved quality, fostering the innovation. And that requires a strategic implementation. You have to think about understanding the technology component. I mentioned in the beginning, at the starting also, there are various emerging technologies are coming out, and each technology has got its own strength and its own contribution. So you have to think about the what are the technology components which you want to add on to it, and then you want to recognize it or the bring the strategic business value to your organization, to your challenges and all. So that guidance is really required for the C-suite executive. That's the objective of this particular channel and this particular episode. So considering the historical context is that as you know, his industry one, two, three, and now we are in the four. So similarly, we are also focusing on to the Pharma 4. So there are now significant changes which have happened over a period of time, into the manufacturing segments and the business practices and all that. So it's going to give an impact onto the processes, manufacturing execution system, digital supply chain management, patients' expectations and all that. So this industrial revolution has got a different phases and all. So you have to really understand what is now expected into the pharma world and how it is going to give you modern advancements into the particular industry. So as I was talking, the industry 4 is now there, how it has moved from 1 to 4. The one was basically a mechanical mechanization, second was electrical, third one was a computer, and now fourth one is a digital. So that is how the advancements are taking place and all. So you have to judge where your industry is standing today, where you are, whether you are into 3 or moving to 4 or you have reached to 4. For reach to 4, what is the maturity level, whether it's a 1, 2, or 3, or 4, that you have to work it out and all that. So this is what is the steps which you will have to think about it. So origin of Pharma 4 is come up because of the Germany has started beginning with the in 2011 about the Industry 4. And now Pharma 4 is adoption of the similar concepts into pharma industry. So for 2017, German researchers has identified and then a white paper, Pharma 4 Roadmap for Digital Pharmaceutical Manufacturing is being drawn. And ISP has trademarked this the term, and then from there onward, it is really moving up and all. So harmonizing, targeting components and enablers are to be thought about. How these whole systems are going to get integrated and how it, and providing best practices for the digital maturizations and all that. So current adoption rates are there. Now, presently there is a low adoption rate for this thing is only 1 to 3% companies are getting qualified to Pharma 4 facilities and it requires a significant gap into the industry because there are a lot of challenges are there. Even though there are a huge number of opportunities are there, pharmaceutical executives have not really been able to bridge up that gap about uh, about the processes, about the expectations, about the concepts, and how those whole industry is going to get transformed from the analog systems to digital systems and all that. So there is a definition and then the core principles. So the definition is that Pharma 4 integrates the digital technologies into pharmaceutical manufacturing and ISP now has defined those concepts over there. Now this is based on two key technologies like artificial intelligence is main thing. Artificial intelligence has got a subset of machine learning. Internet of Things is getting connecting with instruments, machines, and all that. That is the Internet of Things is there. Cloud computing is compiling the entire system's data, processing it, storing it, data integrity, data analysis, everything is happening it over there. Big data analytics and all. And this is leading to the goals about Pharma 4 is basically we have to establish a productive pharma industry and we have to have a enhanced data utilization for that. Now, what are the guiding principles? So, integrating digitalization across the value chain, across the digital supply chain. That is what is the key focus area for each and every pharma company and its objective level. So, simplest operations in there and enhances the connectivity and communication. This also needs to get supported by regulatory compliances through the data integrity and maintains the high standards and reduces the risk of non-compliance. So improving the operational efficiencies and product quality, streamlines the processes, boost product reliability, accelerating innovations and time to market, the new product, new drugs reaching from development stage to the market to the patients and all, which speeds up the development cycles and all. And this is creating a more responsive and agile manufacturing processes and all. Now, this requires a huge resources. Now, this requires a human capital because all these systems are basically human driven, people driven, than the process is driven. So we always suggest it's you need to have a holistic approach that says people, processes, or technology, or I also call it as a head, heart, and hands. Basically has to work together, and this is where equipments and softwares are going to also contribute it, and this will focus on increasing visibility across the whole data to the complete business processes and all. It helps you enhancing the traceability, maintenance, and all this. But as I've mentioned into the last slide, it's basically the culture. No, it's people's mindset is really required for a successful implementation. So fostering innovation within the organization is very important. We have to embrace the change for adoption of this new technology and developing the digital competencies among those employees because finally they are the people who are going to drive the systems and all that. They should learn how this data is going to help to take a better decisions, correct decisions, right decisions, accurate decisions, and all, which will help in improving the productivity, performance, profitability. That is what is the main thing actually. So enterprise-wise end-to-end vision has to be developed, which helps in building up a digital maturity spectrum and all that. And as I mentioned earlier, the holistic framework needs to be developed. Now, information systems is a area like where you also needs to improve your technology infrastructure, for capturing the data, processing the data, analyzing the data, and everything and all. And that includes your manufacturing execution system, your quality management system, your distribution systems, your ERP systems, various systems they need to get integrated and all that. And that is where the seamless data sharing is becomes the most important thing. So organizational structures, workflows, everything needs to get fine tuned to the new digital transformations and all, which is going to help in implementing the Pharma 4. So here I'm going to just give you a brief idea how you can think about different stages of stage one, two, three, four, like I said. So stage one is the pre-digital stage. Is basically you have to think about the digital and automated elements which are going to help you to transform your manual processes, which is, and if your quality is not really maintaining thing, is inconsistent and all that, you should really are at a pre-digital stage and you have to start with that particular focus areas. Then comes the next stage is where your digital elements are now growing and actively managed, but still they are not integrated, but they are into the piecemeal actually. They work onto the particular organizational silos, no particular department focused on the. And stage three is where you are trying to integrate it. Your different data silos are getting eliminated, and then your integration has been started. But integration is still not reached to an automated stage. It is a manual plus automation. So at that particular stage are there, and you are moving towards the digital processes into with a strategic decision making. And then comes the fourth level is the harmonization stage where all various systems are getting harmonized and all that. And finally, you go to the adaptability stage. So normally, this particular process may take based on to our experience during the last maybe 35 years is around 3 to 5 years actually adoption. So you have to draw a roadmap about this digital evolution. So maturity model of digital evolution will take place that helps executives to assess where you are standing into the current positions and all, and will help you to drive that Pharma 4 adoption and how that full adoption will happen, it and take place and all that. Then you have to think about the quantifiable business benefits. Now, there are some few cases which are there who are now started adopting to the digital transformations, Pharma 4 and all that. So some significant things which data I taken off from the internet. A large pharma company has done some implementation and they have claimed that 50% reduction in the unplanned downtime has taken place, 4.5% increase in OT score. So, on time in full quantity. Now, if you are at a 80% level, you are reached to 85% level. If you are at a 70% level, you can reach to 75% level. That's what it is trying to indicate it. And then 90% decrease time into the product development, testing, and those lead times are getting reduced. And this is where improves and overall equipment effectiveness, annual returns have really come down to substantially. Factories are operating at a much better efficiency and equipment utilizations are going up with substantial initial revenue generations and all that. So operational excellence and efficiencies can really come up and all that. And that is where smart manufacturing will help. And you are going to have a better plant utilizations with minimum waste and all that. And with the this analytics will help you into a better quality improvement, and AI-driven quality controls can also help you, to predict how that parameters will move. You can identify those quality issues and prevent if there are possibilities of any failures or deviations with the process parameters and all. Supply chain optimizations will help, and you will have a better regulatory compliance data maintained and all. Now, this all requires a strategic competitive advantages. Now, you have to really think about it. Either top management or the C-level executives have to accelerate the innovation. Digital twins and simulation models can help in enabling the faster development cycles, and AI-driven insights can facilitate efficient technology transfers and all that actually. Market responsiveness is going to play ability to adapt to the changing market condition, quick responses to emerging diseases and regulatory requirements, personalized medicines capabilities can go on reaching up and all that, and advances into manufacturing technologies, even like a 3D printing can also be incorporated on. And organization has to really build up a data-driven decision-making capabilities also. Now, assessing the organizational readiness is the most important thing, and that's a starting phase. So you have to conduct a thorough assessment about your current digital maturity. I mentioned it sometime back about the maturity level 1, 2, 3, 4. No? So you have to see where you are standing it actually. Now where your all processes are there. No? Whether it's a manufacturing, whether it's a distribution, whether it's a quality, all those things you have to see about it. And then you evaluate the technology infrastructure. You have to identify the gaps and opportunities in existing systems. You have to review that data architecture and integration capabilities and all, and assess the process maturity. Evaluate manufacturing process and quality systems. You have to think about determining the readiness for digital transformation. evaluate the workforce capabilities, assess the digital literacy for employees, and consider how regulatory implications are really going to happen in and all. And then you have to build a Center of Excellence Pharma 4. Now, how you will do that is some of the steps I am discussed, mentioned it over here. You have to focus on expertise. You have to concentrate on specialized knowledge and skills, which as a one step we are trying to help you, the knowledge base which we have developed during last 35 years of our experience with not just the pharma industry, but with the technology team also, and how new emerging technologies are coming up. So we are there to guide you the implementations for the entire organization. And the step towards this is we have already mentioned in the beginning our YouTube channel, our websites, our podcast channel, our books, our Udemy courses. We are trying to share our knowledge base to you along with that and all. This will help you with the strategic alignments. Your team has to really think and support onto the broader business objectives, what we are told. You have to quantify, not just a qualitative, but quantify focus areas which you want to improve onto this and unified vision for the transformation which to be built up. Knowledge transfer, as I mentioned in the beginning, also right now this page also is to be developed. We're sharing the best practices and then the how those lessons are learned into the pilot project, and then we start moving to the next phase and how you are planning to go for a complete end-to-end digital supply chain. That's what really we want to do. Think about it. The technology governance is really requiring me to structured approach has to be developed of evaluating the new technologies, and finally the cross-functional representation has to really happen. So as I mentioned into the last thing is that you have to build up those plan, no, first 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 1 to 2 years, 2 years beyond that, no. And right now, I'm not covering phase 3 and 4 and all that, because unless we start building up a phase 1 and 2, that is the initial foundation building and some pilot trials and all that, there's no point in discussing on. So focus on to this phase 1, phase 2, the initial 6 months. These are all very crucial thing, because you are building up a foundation on which your entire systems are really going to work, and then the pilot implementation to be planned it out and all. This also needs to get support from your regulatory considerations. So regulatory considerations with highly regulated nature is there into the pharma manufacturing, which requires unique challenges for the pharma 4 implementation, data integrity and security. Validations are more important. Digital systems validation is needs to be there, which we have already discussed on to our YouTube channel about the digital systems validation. I still find that people are only working on to computer systems validation. But now, when we are planning to move to cloud, we are planning to move to IoT, we have to think about the blockchain, we have to also think about the digital system validations. And then that regulatory alignment is very important. And this needs to be supported by the change management and all that. So modifications into validated processes are to be controlled and collaboration is really required. So change management is again more challenging. I mentioned it earlier also. This requires a holistic approach. It's a people, processes, and technology. Technology has got a lot of capabilities, but how your people adapt to that particular technology is more important, challenging. I also mentioned that it has to have a head, heart, and hands approach. So this requires a leadership commitment. They have to be visible and consistent support is required from C-suite executives and all. And those skills development is there required. So comprehensive training programs are to be developed. This is what is our objective to build up No, the courses onto Udemy platform, courses onto YouTube, courses onto podcast channel, study material onto Amazon books and all that. That is what is our objective. So we want to really help you to build up your skills development and all that. And that requires a communication strategy. There has to be a clear messaging across the whole organizations that where what has been done, what has been changed, and how it has been benefited and all that. And that may lead to process redesigning, new innovations and all, and will help in better success rate. So you have to think about the investment priorities and ROI optimization. So you have to think about the value-based prioritization. No? You have to see what are your uh, focus area, whether it's quality, whether it's distribution, whether it's procurement, all those needs to be identified, and you must draw a clear, measurable business value from that. What processes, technologies, and all, and that establishes the momentum of the transformation. When a phased investment approach is required because allocating that capital is very important. Those resources are very crucial, very challenging, and all that. And then comes what technologies selections which you are going to do it and how those will help you. And then finally, that must get linked up to the ROI measurement and all. Structured approach is really required. So, what are those emerging trends which companies are following now? There were a lot of companies are now started adopting the artificial intelligence. Advanced analytics is basically getting done. Maybe it may be related to production. It may be related to equipment availability. It may be on to your demand forecasting, demand expectations, and all that. Or next is the continuous manufacturing steps are there, how we can change from batch manufacturing to continuous manufacturing. So companies are now thinking to adopt to that also. Real-time monitoring of the control process parameters if there. It should have a closed loop manufacturing data. Sustainability into the integration is there. Digital technologies, how they will enable the sustainable operations and all those are being thought about it. And which needs a strategic imperative planning for the C-suite leaders. No? You- Leaders have to really think about it to develop a clear digital vision map, fosters the cross-functional collaboration, uh, build a digital talent team, to invest into the development of internal capabilities and all that. Embrace continuous innovations, and that will lead to the purpose of the. So now coming to the conclusion, what I wanted to discuss into this whole episode was that we tried to give you a brief overview about the Pharma 4. No? What are the fundamentals? How that shift is going to happen from the present pharmaceutical companies into manufacturing and delivery, and how various digital technologies are going to bridge up the gap of integration into that value chain. So, benefits expected are unprecedented levels of efficiencies, quality, and innovation is going to come. Improvements in operational performance and cost reduction is going to come. Enhancements into strategic positioning will happen, it and all. Implementation of C-suite executives will help in understanding the core principles. You know, C-suite executives must understand how it's going to get implemented and what are the core principles. This is where that organizational readiness will really go on picking up. It will go on assessing. It will go on moving up from level 1, 2, 3 like that and all hopefully. And then that will have a better governance structure also will get. And that's the successful navigation. So I gave you a brief idea. Maybe more inputs you will find it on to our YouTube channel, on our Udemy course and other podcast episodes also, and books and all. So I strongly suggest and recommend it to you that please subscribe all those other channels and everything else. I'm sure you will get definitely a good knowledge sharing, which you can share with your network also. And in case if you have any suggestions, please do write to us. Thank you. Bye.